So, good evening back, students. We are again here with the subject called human resource management. And with the human resource management, today's session, we are going to complete fifth unit. And we are aware of that we have already completed the rest of the units with the online or the classroom mode sessions. So, without any delay, I shall be able to fetch you guys at the next session. We were there and we are going to commence from the last session, video session. Today's session we are going to talk about types of services and fringe benefits. Mainly this is the topic that we are going to talk about. So let us proceed. Whenever we used to talk about the types of services of benefits and services, these types are basically the type by which we are talking about the benefits of the employee needs to be provided by the employers. So what all are these benefits and services type? They are, one is multiple. More or less the benefits are welfare centric, not performance centric, as we have discussed. It is more concerned with the health of the employee, because health is an important aspect related to the human being. And as an organization also, we shall be able to, or one shall be able to protect the health of the workers. Medication is the important issue which is covered in the benefit by the different types of medication and insurance. Education of wards of the employee, social obligation supports like marriages, house holding properties, support, and PPF, Provident Fund, etc. Nowadays, perk has also been included in the benefits or types of benefits and services in the new regime of the benefits, employee benefits. So once we talk about the term called fringe benefit had been defined by many scholars, many social scientists, especially the one who had those have dealt with this HRM. Uh, in the context of understanding the fringe benefit, the recent origin did not comes. This term has not been identified before 1950. So almost 70, 80 years time is there in between. By the meantime, once in the organizational capacity, the term fringe benefit being understood as the small or the small chunks of the benefits being provided to the employees by the employer. According to Kochmeyer, fringe benefits are fringe benefits are those benefits which are to be provided by an employer for the benefit on an employee and are not in forms of wages and salaries and time related payments. Suppose, as we have already discussed, though we are talking in the context of the Kochmeyer's fringe benefit definition, that fringe benefits are something which is not in the form of wages, salaries, or related to the timely payment that we have talked about. Another definition of fringe benefits, according to Belcher, he defines any wage cost not directly connected with employees' productivity efforts, performance, services, or sacrifice. So now this is another way of interpreting, and I thought as a teacher, I need to focus on this definition, so we shall be able to understand this definition more specifically. We'll go with the elaboration. This definitions of Blecher defines any wage cost not directly connected. That meant for here in the last definition we have talked about, there is nothing in form of wage or salaries, right, related to payment. On the contrary, the same definition as the same term being defined by Blecher also being connected by wage is not directly connected. Now there is a term, though there is no connectivity with the wages, but it is about directly. So indirect connection with the employee's productive efforts. There are few terms talked about. One is productive efforts, one is the performance, third is service or sacrifice. Now here we have talked about the productive efforts, PE, the efforts by an individual. Let us try to talk in a more employee manner. If our employees are trying hard for working or to achieve a goal, to achieve the substantial goal, let's say to achieve the number of n number of volume, or to achieve the sales target, or to achieve the production target, or to achieve the certain targets. So productive efforts is the one criteria, second one is the performance, and third one is services or sacrifice. These are certain obligations by the employees to the organization, which is directly connected, which is not directly connected with the wages. Or in very simple words, if we keep on talking about, if fringe benefits are the benefits other than that of the salary or the wages or the direct payment on the time basis, piece basis, then this is not directly connected with employees' productive efforts, performance, services, and sacrifice. Beyond than that, certain sacrifices being made by the employees needs to be talked about. And thus, the benefits provided to the workforce, apart from the negotiated wages, are nowadays termed as either fringe benefits or supplementary benefits. The benefits provided by the workforce apart from negotiated wages. Negotiated wages are certainly the amount that one need to be adhered with, because it is what his productive efforts for performance, service, or sacrifice, but it is beyond than that. So it is being termed as the fringe benefit or supplementary benefits. However, the substance of all terms are the same in terms of the supplementary benefits or the fringe benefits. Fringe benefit is more acceptable in academic human resource management academic arena, or the manpower management or human capital management studies. More acceptable term is fringe benefit. Now we shall be able to talk about this particular discussion into the quest of according to International Labour Organization. Wages are often augmented by specific cash benefits, by the provision of medical and other services, or by payments in kind that form part of the wages for expenditure on goods and services. In addition, worker commonly receives such benefits. Benefits are holiday with pay, low cost meal, low rent housing. Such additions to wages proper are sometimes referred as fringe benefit. Even International Labour Organization, one of the highest significant organization into the working capital or the labours are concerned, directly talks about fringe benefits are those commonly shared benefits by the employees in terms of goodness of services. In addition, they may be a common holiday for the all, being holiday being pay or holiday benefits, low cost meals or renting house, etc. Such an addition to the wages proper, sometimes referred as fringe benefits. Why it has been called as fringe benefit? Because these are substantially into the fringes or different portions or sub portions set of the wages into these different subsets altogether. Benefits that are no relation with relation to employment or wages should not be regarded the fringe benefits, though they may constitute a significant part of workers' total income. According to ILO or International Labour Organization, it has been adhered that in terms of employment wages, they should not be regarded as if any fringe benefits, though they maybe constitute a significant part of workers' total income. So there should not be any connectivity to wages. Rather, it is an addition thing according to ILO, according to Blecher, and according to Kochmar's definition and our general discussion before this particular discussion. Let us talk about significance of fringe benefits. Whenever we start talking about the fringe benefits, of course, they are certain benefits in terms of monetary term or in terms of services or in terms of given benefit to the individual or the worker or workforce by the time or span of their service or their job. These benefit needs to be significant one. Otherwise, there is no such satisfaction being created by certain benefits, or either the term benefit is not being justified. That benefit, the term itself is being addressed into the quest of the workers' benefit. So there are that the significance of fringe benefit lies in three criteria. One is the benefit of the worker. What all are the direct benefit of the worker? First is it reduces gap between nominal wages and real wages of the worker. Whenever we start talking about wages, wages are the real amount that they are going to be provided for the work value given by the individuals to the organization. On the contrary, the fringe benefits are the sum total of phenomena which have been provided by the organization to the individuals or the workforce in the quest of achieving their benefits, that is called their benefits of different reputation, social, their own health or medical or the incremental related obligations are to be talked about. So this reduces the gap between nominal wages and real wages. In terms of real wages, if we can talk about what is a real wage of an employee, would definitely wages plus the fringe benefits. So benefits are a psychological booster for the workers. They are having a psychological advantage by which they can brush up their mind that now we can cope up better with the earning or making money in terms of career or in terms of time given. Next, it is to talk about enhanced satisfaction level. So once you are very positive towards your intention, then definitely you can contribute better to the worker or workforce for the organization. It also improves their standards of living. Whenever we keep talking about the working upgradation of the individual, when you talk about the satisfaction level, it is monetary. And whenever it is monetary, it has got a lot of connectivity with per capita income or the per month difference between the real wage or salary. Then their standard of life will automatically be increased, and this standard of life will give them maintain self-respect or maintain workforce management. Then they can prepare themselves better for the work, so they can innovate something, they can have some command over their work, and they can cope up with their inner challenges in terms of salary, wages, and then maintenance of working responsibilities, because a worker is always responsible for their work whatsoever the conditions or scenarios. If the fringe benefits are available inside the organization, it's an automation by which an individual worker may be moderately be benefited. This help in their growth and development. Individuals are getting further more growth and more advantages in terms of their substantial individual goal as an employee. Goal of life is to achieve the career. So there are both the goals, professional and personal, they are being benefited. So these are the benefits for the worker. These are some of the benefits of the worker. but satisfaction is more, or the level of increase in satisfaction and reducing the gap of nominal wages and real wages are two very important criteria, along with the several other points. So these are the significance of fringe benefit to the workers. First. Second, it has got a lot of benefits to the employer also. It's not one way, rather it is two-dimensional phenomena. It's not three-dimensional, it's two-dimensional. Whenever we talk about the employer's benefit, it is the second point, and employees benefit that we have already talked about. So what all are the employers benefit that we'll talk about here? First is help in attracting and retaining employees. It is going to help the employees and to help them to attract and to retain the employees. Whenever you have got a surplus advantage with beyond that of the salary or wages, definitely it is going to create a lot of confidence inside the employer's mind, that employers are able to retain their workforce, and then they are helping the workplace. So it has been the benefit, it has been the who benefited most is the employer. It reduced the influence on trade unions on worker. Whenever we start talking about fringe benefits, as much as the fringe benefits being provided by the organization, the welfare of the workers needs may be ensured, then definitely the individuals are having less influence on trade unions because workers are directly being benefited. It helps in reducing cost of production. When a satisfied employees is always there, then definitely labor cost and some total cost of, excuse me, some total cost of employee benefits can help reducing the cost of production. How do it can help? Let us try to understand this. Whenever we keep talking about the benefits of an employee, whenever we are talking about an individual's benefit, individuals are psychologically and in context of the organization. So if it is the cost of production, definitely it is the benefit of the organization, because the high level of morale or high satisfaction level or high living standard by the employees can cause the low cost of production, because employees are enthusiastic and they are working with the limited resources, because they are capable, they are motivated, and they are self-reliant, so they can even work with the low minimum resources rather. It helps in reducing the wastage and reciprocation. Whenever we talk about the wastage, the employees benefit or benefited employees are going to waste minimum or create the something which is to be minimized, that is waste or depreciation. Anything which is related to depreciation which cause a lot of negative impression on the organization. Since workers are highly benefited, they are enthusiastic, they have got work ethics, they have got high morale, therefore they are working carefully, and then their working process may reduce the wastage and depreciation. It helps increasing output. Definitely the organization or employees are benefited. Then output will automatically be upburst, and then help it in improving quality, because quality is an or quality aspect is an outcome of the satisfaction or the outcome related to the minimum waste or high productivity. Definitely it is the aspect related to quality. It boosts the image of the organization, because as an organization, the image of the organization have been strongly abided with the certain benefits being provided. So it's a good image to the organization, and that helps organization for uplifting themselves from one one type of projection to the second type of projection. It helps in reducing the supervisory expenses and improve human and industrial relationships. When we talk about improvement of human and industrial relationship, that meant for an organization is always keep on talking about their development in terms of improving their human relations, because at the end of the day, human resource management or anything that we talk about into the context of human industrial relation or human relations are very important. That part HR related industrial values that we have already been discussed in the first unit or second unit, somewhere in the discussion in the classroom sessions in the February and March. Now, what all are the benefits of the society? Societies to be benefited, it is the third criteria. First is the employees benefit, second one is the benefit of the employer, and third the society. At the end, the society is the domain where the employer is associated and so as the employee. So society needs to be benefited. That meant for ultimately it will be the benefit of the organization by the name of employer or the employee by the name of the workers, because it is what the ultimate benefit of the society. Society is the sum total of phenomena where employers are also there, employees are also there, and it is also the buyer and seller. So there is a whole sum of the umbrella or whole sum of the approach had been benefited. So let us talk the direct benefit that we are associating with this with the help of this PowerPoint presentation. Availability of goods and services at the reasonable prices. Of course, it is what the most appropriate benefit, because whenever we keep talking about satisfaction in terms of employee or in terms of employer, then definitely the customer will always be satisfied because they have got the whole sum of range of the product, maybe quality, maybe substantial demand or supply, and therefore availability of goods and services that to at a competitive price, or I will say that reasonable price, are the core benefit of the society by this particular fringe benefits. It increase in gross national production. Whenever we talk about the economy, society, it is, and again another triad to be talked about. One is economy, one is the environment, and one is the society. So society is to benefit, then economy is going to be benefited, and it will have got a lot of upgradation in terms of educational upliftment, because the economic growth of the country have got a multi-dimensional, or may be called up as multiplier effect, and this effect may of course upgrade the society in terms of educational upliftment, in terms of promotion of peace and harmony, because whenever we talk about the peace and prosperity, this symbolize a lot more components. Harmony and peace is one of them, and whenever we talk about the society, social tendencies are based on the justification, and whenever we talk about satisfaction are certain levels of the mental acquisition or acquisition of a mental status where the peace is there, and peace is an outcome of the harmony among the society. It always talks about improvement in standards of living, because living standards is directly related or proportionate to the individual's economic status, or individual's economic status is an outcome related to the benefits to the organization in terms of productivity, and productivity may have the benefit to the society, and society to also the employee, and employees are, by the way, the part of the society. So improvement of living standard is being ensured at the end by the provocation of the services, and provocation of services to get the uh, GNP or GDP upgradation, definitely it is all about the improvement of the standards of living for overall mankind or civilians. We also used to talk about the elimination of social evils. Social evils are also going to be degraded by such phenomena. It reduces of social cost. Social obligation of the mankind needs to be fulfilled because society is the outmost genesis of the employers and employees. Because any production or business concern is a socio-economic phenomena, as we have already discussed. Now we are going to talk about factors affecting the fringe benefits. Now there is certain benefits or significance of fringe benefit that we have discussed, but let us also talk about those factors they are going to affect the fringe benefits. The first of its reason, its aspect related to the which can affect the organization's benefit, sorry, fringe benefit, that is the organizational financial health. If we keep on talking about the financial health of an organization, bad financial status of the organization may have the uh, obstacle, maybe act as an obstacle of the fringe benefits of the employees. And another reason of or barrier of employee benefit may be trade union bargaining power. Whenever we talk about the trade unions bargaining power, we also used to talk about the trade unions role, because they are the influencer. If we keep talk about though the trade unions influence on tourism, trade is lesser. But if we talk about the overall human resource scenario, employers and employees are being dealt by the trade unions. And most of the trade unions are catalyst in bargaining the power related to the benefits. It may be the fringe benefits or services of different reputation. So this is what the factors, one of the factor which may affect the organization or fringe benefit ultimately. Definitely in the positive side, or may also be the negative side. Employers' philosophy with regard to fringe benefit, it may also be a factor. Employees' needs, if their needs are larger in capacity, then satisfying need by the employers it may be a bit difficult. Taxation policies are to be talked about, because these are the certain important periphery which may affect the organization like anything, and this can affect the entire employees need. And such way, in such propagation of the taxation policies, every financial years or budgeting years of a country or a trade or trade barriers rather, they have got difference on the policy related to the fringe benefits or actual or real wages. So these are certain factors. One of the important factor that affects the fringe benefits in the organized sector mainly, or the public private sector or the other sectors, even including in the tourism sector, that is statutory requirements. Statutory requirements are situational. Likewise, nowadays we have got a huge problem or huge corona crisis throughout the world, and most of the economies are concise, and there is a proximity of getting the redundancy of the economies throughout the globe. This is not a time where we need to directly talk about that particular proportion, but next couple of months or next 6 months will tell us how badly our economies are going to be affected by this particular aspect. So statutory requirements may also have imposed the severe changes or obstacle to have or to ease out or release those fringe benefits. benefits. Like by most of the government departments or employees are not getting their certain benefits for time beings because it's a situation of emergency. Repetition. Now we are going to talk about with this topic, we are going to talk about the coverage and types of fringe benefits. Now, in an entire session or entire fifth unit, students, we have though talked about the different type of benefits or services or fringe benefits. So here we are going to talk about their major types. So in principle, there are three major types. First is it should be computable in terms of money, monetary aspect that we have already discussed or discussing. Second is they should not be a part of any contract in indexing when the sum is payable. So these are certain, certainly not a contract. This may index when the sum is going to be payable. Certainly benefits are going to be provided, but there is no such contract because wages are a kind of contract. Once we talk about job design or job description, over there compensation is directly due in terms of work value given by the workers. But here the fringe benefits, there is no such contracts which indicates when the sum is going to be payable. The amount of payment is not predetermined. Something which is very very complex in nature, that is one cannot predetermine or calculate prior that it is going to have the exact amount of the payment or such and such fringe benefits. Now, in this particular context, payment benefits and the under fringe benefits are three specific types according to the scholars. One is the social security and the benefits. It is one of the most important phenomena. And I thought, as a subject teacher, I can even comment even in a person who is dealing in the government organizations or dealing with the organizational structures. I could say social securities and benefits are one of the key aspect related to fringe benefits. Whenever you talk about the labor laws or you keep talk about the certain laws are prevailing in the organization, it is what the statutory role of the constitution or the human resource welfare by the name of ILO or Reserve Bank of India or any policy maker by the name of different ministries, different Ministry of Personnel and Human Affairs of different countries had adhered that social securities and benefit is the outmost criteria. And then the second level in the hierarchy is the labor welfare facilities, and last is the bonus. I thought social security is one of the most important. Therefore, in this particular video session, I'm going to talk a lot about the social security. Human welfare or mainly the labor welfare facilities are to be talked about less, and bonus we will be able to define what is the benefits are or facilities are all about. So let us talk about what is social security. Student, though I'm not teaching you any storytelling subject, but in the case methods or sometime if you are sharing some stories, it would be more interpretive and more good explanation of that scenario. So let me give you one story. I mean, there was a laborer called Mohan in an organization. He was working for the organization for quite a long time. He has got a family, wife and kids. He is the only one who was taking care of his family. He was a migrant worker and working in city Bombay, and he was from the state of West Bengal, and due to contingency of life, Mohan have got loss of their one leg and one working hand. Unfortunately, He have got the employment injury because he have got the life contingency because he was not able to sustain with leg and hand. Bit of unfortunate though, he was also having the occupational disease because he was there, an entire family was there in trauma, and because of his illness, the problem occurred very drastically. Now, by this story, what you guys are getting, I guess, this is what the area the human society needs to be talked about. It is all about the win-win situation of the organization. It is all about the win-win situation of the employer that we have talked about, but we have not talked about those certain circumstances. Those are that much cruel, which may have the various contingencies of life, loss of employment by the name of employment injury, or occupational diseases, or having illness, or coming to the old age, or even attaining death. So the primary reasons against the social obligation is the family. Is the need of your body. If you even don't talk about the family, if you are malfunctioning with your body, now your body is not regulated because the organ or brain that you are working with, that is not updated and that is not been like what you are doing. So hence the mechanism is required by which we can protect them for all such situations, temporarily or permanently. As well, it may be called as social security. The provisions of social security measures can make workers more content. Since we all are human beings, and as a human being, individuals' rights needs to be procured by the constitution. Therefore, the organizations by the name of the policymakers and the institutions, they needs to ensure the social security as a primary criteria for the fringe benefit or the benefits or services that the individuals or workers are looking for. When we keep on talking about the objectives of social securities, there are three major objectives, students. First is to compensate. Friends, whenever we talking about social security, it is an aspect related to the criteria of understanding what is the compensation, right? Second is it is to talk about the capacity and to talk about the prevention of contingencies. I believe that most of us cannot alter the contingencies, but dear friends, we can, of course, we can alter or we can cope up with the minimizing the effect of contingency on the human beings, and this may helps the mankind for getting the ease of the life. So it is to compensate, to restore an earning capacity. Whenever you got the compensation, it's okay, but when the contingency comes, it may hamper your earning capacity. So restoration of the earning capacity is required. Think about Mohan. He don't have the one leg or one hand. Probably after recovering of having good health, though recovering a good health, that doesn't mean that he will have got one hand, or even he can talk about some helping mechanical hand or mechanical leg. He may not be able to work as good as he was doing. So it is what the situation for the society to talk about restoration of earning capacity of the mankind, which is related to the prevention of the contingency. So these are the common objectives of the social security system. By the way, social security aspect is the need of hour. Now we shall be able to talk about need and significance of social securities in Indian industry scenarios, mainly in tourism industry. Students, as we talk about, Indian industrial workers are more exposed to various contingencies of life. Probably my intention is not here to state that Indian industries are not secure, but we have got a kind of system or kind of propagation of work management or workforce management where we are having a lot of contingencies of life, because here the role of man is more than that of the other industries or other countries' industries, because most of them are in the shape of mechanical work. So here the man part is more, and therefore the contingencies of lives are far greater than that of the others. Next is to wave of status of in-depth. Whenever we keep on talking about the tourism industry or other allied industries or the industries of production reputation in India, we have witnessed that the situation of in-depth, especially for the employers or employees, have also been adhered. Therefore, social securities are also there for the organization to protect their own welfare so that they can protect the welfare of the employees. It is also to talk about the maintenance and dependent more confidence during the contingency of life. Whenever we are talking about contingency management or management of life contingency, there is a time. It is not a very quick succession process that एक second में ही हो जाएगा or it will take only a month. There are many years to be talked about for this type of after incident era. So dependency criteria needs to be more efficiently aligned so that the confidence during contingency of life may be built by the family or the individual. Self-respect, self-dignity and survival is the key area, key mantras. These are 3S: self-respect, self-dignity and survival, because these are the core areas. Whenever I will speak in Hindi rather, मजदूर बहुत खुददार होता है और वो मजदूर होता है, मजबूर नहीं होता। और अगर आप मजदूर को मजबूर बनाओगे तो एक बड़ी अच्छी स्थिति नहीं है। Therefore, self-respect, self-dignity and survival are the key criteria of social securities for the welfare of the employees, and which is the most important spirit or principle of the social securities. The restoration of loss of working capital, we need to restore the working capital, because most of the time the contingencies for the employees or employers, they are threatening hard, and this threatening may have the loss of the working capital. So working capital needs to be restored at the end of the employer side, also to at the end of the employee side, because they both needs to be benefited and they each other needs to be into the context of the benefit for all. Now there are two forms of in principle there are two forms of social securities. One is social assistance and second one is the social insurance. And this victory signs insurance symbolize the getting oneself in the status of insurance. Death insurance claim needs to be given. In terms of monetary loss or work loss of the organization, then also the volume of work against or volume of human capital against welfare, that needs to be reverted back by the insurer. So social securities in India or the most of the countries, according to ILO, that is International Labour Organization, have worked on two criteria. Phase one is social assistance. People, masses, individuals, organizations need to be provided the assistance. And nowadays we can take a beautiful example for the social assistance by today itself. Today is 14th. While we ending this session recorded, we shall be able to entering into the 15th May. Morning of 15th May. So whenever we keep on talking about the social securities, these are being provided by the name of government's contribution to MSMEs or waives in loans or policies for the business, especially the organized and unorganized sector, for their funding. Social insurance is again a criteria that needs to be given as a guarantee. Now, students, very carefully, I'm going to making these demands with all sort of experiences in this particular trade, and I'm teaching this subject for I mean, both MBAs and BBA program. And as per our syllabus, we are not having any alignment of such elaboration of those acts. This may be called up as types of employee benefit services, right? So whenever we talk about the greater prospect of the syllabus, we keep on talking about the particular act or legislation obligations in detail. But here in the BBA syllabus, we don't have that much of depth, though I'm also sharing few of the important or primary types of employee benefit services, which needs to be ensured by the most of the public private organization, government organization, PSUs, etc. Everywhere in the country, even in nowadays, Kashmir also, the provision of such acts are there. These are the certain acts which are prevailing in India before the independence, and some of the acts are being revised, that is called amended, and after amendment, these acts are being providing benefits to the laborers, to the workforce, to the workplace, and to the employers, providing the guarantee to ensure the benefits of the employees by the different legal obligations. So these are the types of employee benefit services. One is the Employee Compensation Compensation Act. There, in the year of 2023, in 1923, I beg your pardon, it was a time frame where the employee compensation was not ideal. Scenarios were not ideal. Therefore, the act comes into and creates a lot of favor to the laborers. Then one of the goodness into the workplace, I mean, first of all, the human being, especially the gender equality was not there. Later the gender equality have been ensured. If you have attended my session when I talked about the different phases of HRM in India, I had talked about it in the unit 1 and 2's discussion in the classroom, where I talked about what all are the different time frames where India क्या changes Indian HRM scenario में आए थे. And over there we have discussed certain services also, certain parameters, legislative factors. The Maternity Benefit Act comes in 1961, which was the amended act, and this provides the working lady health once she becomes a mother, and she'll have to look after herself and the family and the child. ESI is related to the employees services and related increment, and this act is of before or immediate after the independence of the country, but it has been reciprocated by the Britishers. Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1951, 51, 52 amended again and again by the name of EPF schemes, EPF in terms of Provident Fund, or pension schemes by 71, 95, 2000, 2012 re-amended, and closely 2018 also there have been some amendments over there. Employees Deposit Link Insurance Schemes 1976 and Payment of Gratuity Act. Now, sum total of this discussion of these employee benefits are all about, these are certain benefits to the employees by the name of services. So these are certain benefits, these are certain beneficiary services or an obligation by the act of the Parliament, Government of India, or the different states governments by the name of the legislation are to be ensured, followed by an organizational framework that any organization, public sector, private sector, or any other sector, they are working under the company, they need to proliferate certain acts or benefits in the human welfare or workforce welfare. As I talked about, we'll talk about social security on a greater capacity, but human welfare or labor welfare also needs to be talked a little. The maintenance of functions of HRM aims to preserving and improving physical, mental, and economic conditions of employees, and it helps to stakeholders of an organization. Any organization cannot, I mean, I'm putting a lot of stress over there, cannot be able to upgrade or succeed in terms of production until unless they are not functioning or maintaining the functions of HRM for preserving, improving physical, mental and economical conditions of employees. कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन किसी भी रेपुटेशन का तत्काल या लंबे समय में तरक्की नहीं कर सकता until unless वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में एम्प्लॉइज के को प्रिजर्व नहीं करेगा अगर उनके फिजिकल, मेंटल और इकोनॉमिकल कंडीशंस को अपग्रेड नहीं करेगा. For that, what is an outcome? Bonus is an outcome. For that, we can understand how do bonus are to be talked about. A bonus is a financial compensation that is above and beyond the normal payment expectation of its recipient. Bonuses may be awarded to both entry-level employees and to the senior-level executives. Bonus may be dangled as an incentives to the prospective employees and can also be distributed to companies' stakeholders, shareholders. Now, if we talk about bonus as a proportion of the sum total of benefits. Students, as we start talking about types of benefits and services mainly into the context of fringe benefit, then we have talked about three criteria of benefits of services. One is the social security. That we have talked about social security, the prime criteria for any country or organization to restrict themselves to provide the benefit in the contingency of the life or severe scenarios. Then it is to talk about the labor related welfare. Labor welfare in terms of to upgrade mental, physical and economical well-being of an employee. It is as important as the contingency of life. For that, what is to be done? It is needs to be that financial compensation in terms of a greater volume of your profit share needs to be shared as an equity of the individuals, whatever their level is or whatever their contribution is. And that is again not the wage, not the salary, beyond than that of the wages and salaries. So we have concluded fifth unit. Let me remind you students, after completing this particular video, when we started in the month of April, I guess 4th or 5th after the online sessions, we have started talking about recorded videos on HRM. We have already completed 4th unit, 3rd unit, and we have also completed the 5th unit, and the other topics have already been completed. So today, after this particular video, we have 100% completed our syllabus. But of course, as a teacher, it's my moral responsibility to help you in your learning. For that, I shall be able to provide you more notes which are supporting you in the subject, helping you the way of learning, how do you can cope up with your studies and your preparations for that. So for now, I would like to place thank you very much, but there is a scope of learning always. So I shall be able to derive some more innovative videos, and this time we will have not very but larger videos likewise this sessions, whole sessions. We'll talk about sessions on preparations, how to write exam, how to cope up with the subject, how to clarify your doubts. So first, after completing this module 100%, my first duty towards you would be give you some revision sort of things, some important topics which I thought that they are important. I will talk to on that on a very small videos, and then we can talk about the preparation of the exams. Though the learning exam videos are different and these categorical subject matters are different. though it was a new way of learning for me and for you guys also. So hope you like that. By the meantime, we have to ensure ourselves, because Corona is not an event of a small day. This is going to be there. So sustain yourself for studies. Do take care of your mental and physical health. Be stronger for your studies and for the study purposes. Till then, it's good night. Thank you.